And we've been joined by UCF coach George O'Leary. The Knights are 6-1 overall, 3-0 in the American Athletic Conference. Last week, the Knights beat UConn 62-17 on Saturday. This week, UCF has an open date. UCF's next game will be November 9th against Houston. As we announced, that game will be on ESPN2. Coach, thanks for joining us on the call. If you could take a minute to tie up the win against UConn, and then tell us your plans for the open week as you get ready for the game against Houston on the 9th, please.
Well, I think the UConn game was a game where, we had a chance to play a lot of guys. We played a lot of second team, third team in the whole second half, and that's great for morale and to get an evaluation on a lot of those guys. And I thought the first half, offensively and defensively, basically took the game plan and did a very good job of getting it done there. And we had some opportunities for some turnovers, which led to a lopsided score in the first half. But again, I think it was a good day as far as getting everybody in the game, as far as that hadn't had a chance to play a lot this year, and so we get them on tape for see what they're about and see how they competed. So it was a good day, great day for team morale.
Take questions for Coach George O'Leary, please. Hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
Our first question will come from Paul Tiro from Orlando Sentinel.
Hey, Coach.
To start off with your name?
Yeah, she got a little bit wrong there, didn't she?
I would say so.
We'll start off. Sean Moffitt, Special Teams Player of the Week. You touched on this a little bit, but he's been very consistent this year, 9 for 9. Does that just kind of give a little bit of relief to know that you've got a guy you can count on to go out there and hit a 50-yarder, not just the field goals in close?
Well, I think he has a good leg, and I think consistency is the key this year with him, and I think that goes along with maturity. He's been a couple of years in the program now, so I think he's mature. He's been under the situations, in a lot of situations, tough situations, with the win, without the win, whatever, and I think he understands that you're on scholarship to put the ball through the uprights, and he's doing what he needs to be doing, and I think that's great. And again, we have a couple of kickers that can kick, and I think we keep competition at that position every week, and I think all of them get an opportunity if it warrants.
You talked about giving a lot of guys snaps against UConn. How important was it to get some of the younger offensive linemen in there, especially the guards and Chester Brown, to get some reps, considering the McRaes and Chris are seniors?
Well, the 3 linemen are leaving, so again, all the other players got, I think, between 31 and 34 reps in the second half, which I think is great for them, and look at the game speed and just see how they compete and get them on film so we have something to look at, and as far as in the off season. And again, I think it worked out well as far as those guys having an opportunity, but as I told them, they're getting an opportunity, but they need to go out and be productive. I think that's what it's all about, and I thought they competed. I thought there was good effort. Technique wasn't always where it needed to be, but I thought they gave great effort, and they finished, which is what I was looking for.
Staying with the O-line, the starting unit, they gave up 4 sacks against Akron. Since then, 4 sacks in the last 6 games, none in the last 2 games. What have you seen that's led to that type of production over the last few weeks? Is it just a matter of them getting comfortable with each other?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with Blake. I think there's been some free runners, and he's avoided them and made plays, which, if you don't have that ability, those become sacks. But I think we've done a good job of monitoring the protections as far as what we want to utilize for that game, and making sure that we got hats where they belong. And I think Blake's done a good job of basically avoiding some mistakes as far as the rush is concerned. So there's a lot more to it than just the offensive line. I think the quarterback is helping that situation out a lot. But they've done a good job of getting hats where they need to be, and you haven't had a lot of not getting a lot of push inside, which has really helped Blake the opportunity to step up inside.
Another kid we saw, I think, a little bit more this week, Jerome Amaya, the transfer, the JUCO transfer. Have you seen a lot of progress with him, or did you want to get a little bit more speed on the field this week against UConn?
Well, he started the last 2 games. I would hope you saw him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he started against Louisville, and he started this week, and I think basically he's a kid that just keeps coming on. It took him a while to learn the speed of the game a little bit, coming from where he came, but I think he utilized his hands very well, and he's right in the thrust of the playing time at the defensive line, and he has an opportunity. He has some quickness about him. He has the opportunity to make some more plays that we weren't making at that position in the early part of the season.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it. Paul Teninario.
Our next question will come from Brendan Brittany of Newark Star Ledger.
Good afternoon, George. How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm just wondering, in your time as a head coach in this sport, has the trigger to pull a starting quarterback and put in a backup if the situation isn't working, has that shortened, or has it not really changed in your opinion?
Well, I think right now, I think when you do pull them, you have to understand the consequences of pulling them. But I've pulled quarterbacks, and I think if it's deserved, if they're making mental mistakes, I think sometimes you got to get him on the sideline. I'm not saying pull him for the game, but I'm saying pull him so he can get his thoughts collected and make sure he understands what he's looking at, and get somebody in there to so he can see what's happening on, calm him down a little bit. But I pulled quarterbacks, and I think if you're going to pull them and change them out for the year, I mean that's what you've done, and you better hope that second guy can take over and do the job.
That sort of brings me to my second question: does your second guy nowadays have to almost be just as good of this as the starter if you're going to pull a guy?
Not really. I think if he's a younger guy and you feel he has more promise, and you'd rather spend your time with that kid rather than continually making the mistakes with the first kid. I think you got to make that decision as a staff. I mean, how does the team react to it, and basically, are you going to be in better shape for the rest of the season with another kid? If he's a younger kid and you have that kid coming back the following year, you're going to be a better team for it. But I think when you pull that first kid, there better be reasons, not one bad play. As I always say about the quarterbacks, you can have a bad play. You can't have a bad day. There's a big difference in that, and I tell our quarterbacks all the time, you're going to have a bad play. You just can't make it a bad day. A bad day means you're not getting things done mentally, and you're not helping the football team.
Thanks, George.
Okay, I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Coach, thanks for the time this week. Look forward to talking to you again next month.
I appreciate it.
All right, and that is UCF coach George O'Leary again. The Knights with an open date in action again November 9th against Houston.